Welcome back to another Media Firestorm case study where I have an incredible new client to introduce you to. Amanda Hinman has just finished her first 30 days with a Media Firestorm, and I'm just really excited to learn more about what she's been doing, where she was before she came into Media Firestorm, and what this means for her business going forward. Amanda, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Angel. I'm excited to share.
You know what? I've been watching your progress inside of our member portal. You've been checking in daily, which is incredibly exciting. But let's go back. Let's just get a little bit of introduction. Tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, definitely. I am just located just outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I specialize in helping women over 40 to optimize their hormone health by increasing their energy, improving their mood, and releasing weight permanently. And I knew I wanted to get my message out in a bigger way because last year, at the end of the year, I released my best-selling book, The Thyroid Hormone Solution. And it was, okay, how can I continue to share this and continue to, bring this impact to more and more women.
Well, it is timely for me for sure. That is the stage of life that I'm in, and I love that there's more conversations, that it's becoming more normal to have the conversation about hormones and menopause and thyroid. Like all of that is becoming a little bit more commonplace. So, how long have you
Yeah,
been in business? I know you just published your book last year, but give us a little backstory. How long have you been in this space?
definitely. Well, I've been serving clients and supporting women for about 10 years now. And prior to that, I do feel like it was like a divine redirection that led me to the world of health. I'd always been interested in health and was a group fitness instructor kind of on the side and, a nutrition fanatic. But I was a CPA out of college, so like an accountant by trade. And then through my own autoimmune diagnosis and later my daughter's health crisis. I mean, she was to the point when she was 8 years old, she had really extreme anxiety and was having anywhere from 10 to 15 seizures in a day. And at that point, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks of like, okay, there has to be more than just we manage this with medication. She'll never be able to drive a car. I have an autoimmune condition. I'll have to be on medication for life. There has to be more that I'm not understanding. So that's when I went back to school to study functional medicine science and really get to the root cause and know how the body's interconnected systems work and how to rebuild health, candidly speaking. So was able to rebuild my daughter's health and my own health. And that's what inspired me to get into the world of health consulting and help other women.
Well, when Mama Bear comes out, right? You're like,
Right.
I will figure this out. I might not have done it for myself, but I will figure this out for my baby for sure. So, what made you think like you've got the book, you've now got this message, you've got this impact, this divine direction. What made you think podcasting was going to be a direction for you and a tool to use?
It works really well for my lifestyle. I do have four daughters and my husband. We have a full life and a full schedule. And I knew speaking was something that I enjoy, and it's a great way to get the message out in a bigger way. Yet I was looking for something that wouldn't require me to be on the road and travel as much as I have in the past. So looking for avenues to have um, accessible speaking on a regular basis, podcasting fit the bill, and it was perfect. It was a great alignment.
You know, you are my sister in this space. Same thing, right? I'd been traveling as a speaker and was just ready to, kind of put the suitcase away. And how could I
Yeah.
still have the same impact and access? And podcasting has been absolutely strategic for me. So, enrolled in Media Firestorm, helping you get booked on podcasts, teaching you the Media Firestorm strategy. What are some things that you put in the last 30 days? Some different things that you've been using and implementing over the last 30 days?
The one of the biggest things, I mean, in addition to having more podcasts being recorded, I mean, in month, well, it's been 1 month and I've recorded six. So it's like just that consistency of getting in front of new audiences has been helpful. But the other key piece is the email a day. I was emailing my list regularly twice a week, actually, but not as overt and direct with call to action to work with me and apply now. Here's how I can help you. And so just starting to do that every single day has been a step up in terms of really honestly seeking clients, people who are ready, willing, and able to invest in their health now.
Isn't that funny? Like we go out and we do all this surveying, we wrote the book, we're speaking, we're sharing, we're giving, but we never take that next step to say, come work with me. We just think, oh,
Yeah.
they're going to figure it out. They're going to say that. But so taking that next step and actually saying, here, we're open for business can be, it doesn't seem like it's rocket science, but it does make such a big impact. Consistently getting booked on podcasts. Congratulations. 6 already in your first month.
Mhm.
I mean, that's game changer. 6 new audiences, 6 new hosts that you're building relationships with, and that's just in your first month. So got booked on 6 podcasts, sent emails every day. What kind of results have you seen?
So from the emails that I've been sending over the last 30 days, I've had 11 what I call like get acquainted conversations, sales enrollment conversations. And I do have a sales process where if somebody applies and wants to learn more about how I support women, then we book schedule a call together and I have them watch a kind of a little introduction video talking kind of like Media Firestorm does, walking through what is my process so they have some kind of context and background. So of the 11 calls that were booked, let's see, or no, I'm sorry, 12 were booked, 11 occurred and took place, and I've had 6 enrollments, um, 6 new clients, and then 2 renewal clients from people that I had been working with that are going to continue to work. So that's a total of $27,750 in new revenue in the last 30 days.
In comparison to what you were doing before, is that more or less?
It is more. It is the time of year where a lot of people tend to think about health, right? January is a time of year where it's timely, and it was the end of December into January. So it's been more the biggest thing for me. What has been more steady calls booked, like weekly, people getting on my calendar. And I know that if it's once it's somebody who's been exposed to me, who's heard me and consumed some of the way that I approach it and the way that I support clients, that there's a high conversion rate. So it's just a matter of like getting more of those conversations to happen.
Right. When I first started doing the daily emails, my first 30 days, Amanda, we enrolled 6 clients also.
Mhm.
And I think we did about $18,000 in cash extra that month. And it is more consistent versus I go and I speak and I would sell, I'd have an event or, it was inconsistent. If I did an event or I did a speaking, I would enroll clients. But this gave me a steady stream of clients. And it was more, I could actually create a budget around it more likely. And you're right. The more often we have sales calls, the more often we will enroll clients. So, anything else you wanted to share as far as a result or a success story that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I think one other thing that has been helpful is I started this process last year, but I think the combination of the email a day and I do a lot of stories I was again getting more direct in my story conversations and call to action. So like posting reels and posting information on social media, but then in the daily stories, specifically saying DM me or apply now to work with me and being more overt about it.
I love it. I love what you're doing. I'm loving seeing the result and the growth in your business. Can you go back?
Mhm.
Do you remember how you found us?
Honestly, I believe it was a colleague of mine who jumped into the Facebook group, the Need a Guest Facebook, and she's like, I know you have a book coming out. You may want to think about this because this is a whole bunch of podcast people. And that was last year, maybe in October, September, October, and I hadn't had time to really plug in. I just hadn't prioritized plugging into the group and really getting acclimated. But it was through the daily emails, and there was a daily email that somehow caught my attention of like get booked on 50 podcasts or 60 podcasts or whatever it was in next year. And that's when I thought like after my book had launched, I was like, huh, that would be a really useful way. It was the simplicity of the strategy and the guarantee of get X number of podcasts in the next year that seemed like the natural progression from the book launching. And now let's continue to get the word out about it.
Did you have any fears about enrolling with us?
I think my biggest hesitation, and I actually talked to Jamie about this a lot, is if I'm doing all of these podcasts, usually it's like the cross promotion of how am I going to stay true to my message of being clear of what I'm offering if I'm always promoting every podcast that I'm on, right? So that was kind of like, how does that not muddy the waters with what you're sharing with your audience? And the solution that Jamie shared with me, which I thought was like, oh, that's actually really intuitive or really like creative, is to set up a once a week podcast like email sequence where it's like once a week, every Sunday, they're going to get the emails with the podcast that I've appeared on. And that's just like nurture for people that come into my sphere, my ecosystem, and they can continue to tune in when they want to. But I was like, oh, that makes it a way where it feels sustainable and not overwhelming to the audience with the message.
Yeah, I agree with you. Email fatigue can be a real thing if I'm constantly promoting. In fact, that was the only kind of emails I was sending before was I was on this show, I'm going to be on a summit. Here's the 3 emails I need to send for the
Yeah,
summit. And so we use our weekends, right, to send out kind of the extra, right? So it's a great cadence. Here's all the shows I was on. And then making it kind of a Sunday playlist. Like here's your
yeah,
playlist for the week to go and listen. And your message in every one of them, every interview that you do, even though the topic is the same, the conversation and the dialogue shifts based on the host questions and their experience. So even though we share the same message, the conversation is always unique and different. And that's one of the things I love about being a podcast guest. Okay,
yeah.
so now, right, we're 30 days in. You know, we're seeing some systems, some consistency. How does that
Mhm.
make you feel?
I mean, I definitely feel more solid and stable in the business than I have in a long time. So it's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
happy about it.
right. What positive impact? So you feeling that way, what impact does that have on your business, on your family, on
We
those
just have
around you?
amazing clients. I get to work with, like I said, these new women that have stepped in are so fun, and I'm so jazzed and excited to see them create transformation in their health and their life. And that has a ripple effect. I know that every single woman that I get to support has dramatic changes in her energy levels, which affects how she shows up for her family, which affects how she shows up in her career. And it's just profound. Like I see genuine, like best time quarter ever in my business because I am on fire with creativity and I'm on fire with excitement and enthusiasm. I see women who've like reconnected and improved relationships with their children because in the past they were just so fatigued and so drained that it was easy to kind of get irritated and have snappy dialogue and that type of stuff. So now literally that's what excites me is seeing these women that get to change their lives.
Well, what a perfect segue for me to ask, how do we connect with you, women who want to change their lives? What's the best way for them to reach out to you, and how do they get started?
Yeah, well, one of the first things I always suggest for one to do is to get to know what's going on in their body because your hormones are the messenger molecules in the body. They give you cues and clues about where to lean in, what to pay attention to, so that you can continue to have many more decades of vitality and energy and creativity. So, one of the gifts I'd like to share with your audience is my free hormone assessment. And this is a quick checklist. You can go through some of the most common symptoms, and it kind of points you in the direction of is this likely an imbalance in thyroid hormone? Is it perhaps an imbalance in insulin? So, we look at the top 6 metabolic hormones, and based on your symptom experience or profile, if you will, it guides you to know, oh, where should I kind of be tuning in? Do I have really low cortisol, or is it likely that it's too much cortisol, too much? So it kind of gives you an inside glimpse of what your body is signaling to you.
That sounds fascinating. How do we find it?
So I'll share with you, I can give you the link to put in the show notes, but if you go to hinmanholistic.com, you can scroll and see at the about the middle of the page the take the free hormone assessment and receive it there.
Got it. Hinmanholistic.com, right? For
Yes.
Amanda Hinman. I love it. And yeah, we'll put the link in the show links, show notes as well. Amanda, if someone is unsure about, enrolling in Media Firestorm, if getting booked on podcasts, if growing their business through podcasting, guesting is a great fit for them, what would you say to them?
I would say if you have something that you believe like passionately about and you want to make a bigger difference, this is creating a sustainable way to continue to expand your reach and be in conversation with more prospects
I
to,
love
to
it.
work with you.
I love it. So would you recommend Media Firestorm to others on
Yeah.
a scale
I,
from 1 to 10, right?
yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I mean, to me, it's been I've already more than made the investment back. So I would say definitely a 10 if you're ready and willing to do the things,
I love
take the
it. I
action.
love it. Well, Amanda, again, we are just super excited for your results, for the progress, getting your message out even more, and just really what you're doing to create a legacy. The story you're sharing and the impact that you're making in the world is really valuable. It's really important, and we're so glad that we could be a part of that. Thanks for being our guest today. Go to get that free hormone assessment with Amanda, hinmanholistic.com. We will put the link in the show notes. Amanda, anything else you wanted to say before we close this off today?
No, it's been great, Angel. I really appreciate the way that you and your team are checking in and, really supportive to allow all of your clients to succeed.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, this has been another case study with an amazing result with Amanda Hinman. Truly, check her out, follow her, buy her book, check out that free assessment. And you know somebody who probably needs to take that free assessment as well. So, be a giver, share the love, and I'll see you on the next case study. Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.